The morning sun had only begun to climb the sky when Keanu Reeves stepped out of his modest suburban home, coffee cup in hand, enjoying the peace of another simple day. But that peace never lasted long in a neighborhood ruled by a hyper-controlling HOA. As he watered the small line of flowers beside his walkway, he noticed something unusual. 3 HOA board members standing across the street, arms crossed, eyes fixed on his house. Their whispers carried across the quiet cul-de-sac like needles of irritation. Keanu offered them a polite nod, but none of them returned it. Instead, they clutched clipboards tightly, as if gathering evidence for a crime only they believed existed. 4 weeks now, the HOA had been acting strange toward him. They'd sent him warnings about unusual activity around his property. They filed complaints about suspicious individuals entering his garage. One even accused him of holding meetings without community approval. All nonsense. But the HOA didn't thrive on truth. They thrived on power. Keanu had ignored the rumors, but today something felt different. Heavier. The board members suddenly spread apart like investigators surrounding a perimeter, jotting down notes every time someone walked by his driveway. Later that afternoon, as Keanu returned from buying groceries, he found an envelope taped aggressively to his front door. HOA notice of violation. Unauthorized club activity on property. His eyebrows rose in disbelief. The letter claimed that multiple minors were entering his garage frequently and that the nature of the gatherings appears clandestine in nature. Keanu actually laughed for a moment, part disbelief, part sadness that such assumptions could be made. He wasn't breaking any rules. If anything, what he was doing was helping the very community the HOA claimed to protect. But the worst was yet to come. As evening approached, Keanu opened his garage door to prepare for the upcoming session. Inside, the floor was clean, the mats neatly arranged, a row of worn punching pads stacked against the wall. Inspirational quotes he had hand-painted lined the boards, reminders of hope, courage, and self-worth. These weren't signs of rebellion, these were signs of healing. Because inside his garage, Keanu wasn't running a secret club. He was running a lifeline. The HOA didn't know it yet, but the truth was about to walk out the door and shake their entire foundation. Keanu had just finished placing fresh water bottles on a small table when he heard the crunching footsteps outside. The garage door was still open, allowing the warm air to drift freely inside. Suddenly, 5 HOA board members marched toward him, clipboards ready, eyes sharp with misplaced authority. Leading them was the HOA president, Karen Whitmore, a woman known for shutting down lemonade stands, birthday decorations, and even front porch pumpkins for being too festive. "Mr. Reeves," she called out sharply, "we need to inspect your premises immediately. We have reports of minors participating in unauthorized activities in this garage." Keanu wiped his hands calmly on a towel. "Good afternoon to you too. And what exact rule am I supposedly breaking?" Karen lifted her folder dramatically, like an attorney presenting damning evidence. Community Regulation 4B. No clubs, secret gatherings, or organized group activities without HOA approval. We have reason to believe you are hosting something covert. She leaned forward. A secret club. A smile tugged at the corner of Keanu's mouth, though not out of disrespect, out of disbelief. "There's nothing secret here," he said kindly. "What I'm doing is simple." The board members pushed past him and began inspecting the garage with absurd intensity, taking photos of the mats, examining water bottles, even sniffing the air as if expecting something illegal to jump out at them. "Aha!" one of them shouted. "Equipment. Organized layout. This proves it." Keanu sighed. "Look, I'm not running a club. I'm helping a few kids from the neighborhood. That's all." Karen scoffed. "Helping? Mr. Reeves, we have parents complaining. They say their kids sneak off to your house. They say you're meeting them behind closed doors." Keanu felt a surge of frustration, not anger, but sadness. "They come here because they feel safe," he said quietly, "because someone needs to listen to them." Before Karen could respond, a soft knocking sound came from just around the corner. A gathering was about to start, and the truth, painful and pure, was about to step into the light. The HOA members spun around when they heard footsteps approaching. Keanu stepped aside calmly as 4 kids walked toward the garage, heads down, hands fidgeting, backpacks slung loosely over their shoulders. They weren't a secret club. They weren't rebels. They were kids quietly fighting battles no one else saw. First was Ethan, a thin 16-year-old boy with bruises peeking from under his hoodie sleeves. His father was known in the neighborhood for shouting loud enough for entire streets to hear. Next came Lily, a 13-year-old girl who avoided eye contact with everyone. She had stopped talking much after her mother abandoned her a year earlier. Beside her was Marco, a shy kid who had been bullied so badly at school that he had stopped attending for weeks. And lastly, little Ava, only 10, who had lost her older brother to depression and now struggled with her own nightmares. As they stepped closer, the HOA board members froze, stunned and speechless. Ethan looked at Keanu first. "Sir, are we still doing session today?" His voice quivered, afraid the adults around him were there to take away the only safe place he had. Keanu crouched beside him. "Of course," he said softly. "You're all safe here." Ava tugged on Keanu's shirt. "Did we do something wrong?" she whispered, eyes wide and frightened. "No, sweetheart," Keanu assured her. "You didn't do anything wrong. You're allowed to ask for help. You're allowed to be here." The silence that followed was suffocating. The HOA members looked at one another, guilt beginning to creep into their expressions as the reality of what they had been accusing him of settled heavily on their shoulders. Karen tried to maintain her rigid posture, but even her lips trembled slightly. Keanu turned back to the board. His voice wasn't angry, it was firm but compassionate. "These kids didn't come to me because they wanted a club," he said. "They came because they needed guidance, because they felt invisible. I'm teaching them self-defense, confidence, but more importantly, I'm teaching them they matter." Lily stepped forward, gripping her backpack straps tightly. "Mr. Reeves helps us talk about things we can't tell anyone else," she said quietly. "He listens." Marco wiped his eyes. "He's the only adult who doesn't tell us we're too dramatic or too sensitive." The HOA members stood there, shaken, as shame slowly replaced suspicion. But the moment wasn't over yet. The most heartbreaking truth was still waiting. Keanu invited the kids to take their seats on the mats, then turned back to the HOA members. His face was calm, but the weight behind his eyes spoke volumes. "If you still want to shut this down," he said gently, "then sit and listen first. Hear them. Really hear them." Surprisingly, one board member nodded and stepped inside. Then another followed. Even Karen hesitated before crossing the threshold, her stiff posture softening slightly as she took in the sight of the mats and inspirational quotes. It didn't look like a secret club. It looked like a refuge. Keanu began the session the same way he always did, with gratitude. "What's one thing you're grateful for today?" he asked the kids. Their answers were raw, emotional, real. "I'm grateful I didn't get hit today. I'm grateful Lily walked home with me. I'm grateful Ava didn't have nightmares last night." Each sentence felt like a punch to the gut for the adults listening. Then Keanu sat with them. "You are worthy. You are strong. And you deserve a life that doesn't hurt," he said, his voice steady but tender. "This garage isn't a club. It's a safe space. And I'll keep it open as long as you need it." A long moment passed. One HOA member, Mr. Fletcher, known for enforcing lawn-length rules, covered his face with his hand, quietly crying. Karen swallowed hard. Why didn't anyone tell us?" she whispered. Keanu looked her directly in the eyes. "Because people in pain don't shout. They hide. And they only step out when they feel safe." Then Ava stood up, trembling. She looked right at Karen. "If you make him stop, I won't have anywhere else to go." Those words shattered every wall around Karen's heart. Tears filled her eyes as she knelt down and hugged the young girl. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "None of us knew." The truth had finally surfaced, and it had changed everything. By the next morning, the entire neighborhood knew the truth. Not because Keanu told anyone, but because the HOA board members themselves did. For the first time in years, they walked door to door, not with violation notices, but with apologies. They explained that Keanu's secret club wasn't secret at all, nor was it a violation. It was an act of humanity the neighborhood desperately needed. Word spread fast. Parents came to thank Keanu. Elderly neighbors baked food for the kids' sessions. Even teens who had been watching from afar asked if they could join. The community didn't just accept what Keanu was doing, they embraced it fully. The HOA board called an emergency meeting that evening, but this time the energy was different. Instead of suspicion and power, there was humility. Karen stood at the front, face red from crying. "We were wrong," she admitted to the entire neighborhood. "And Mr. Reeves, thank you for doing what we failed to do, taking care of our children." Keanu stepped up to the microphone. "I never wanted credit," he said softly. "I just wanted to give them what I didn't have growing up, a safe place to breathe." Then the moment came that no one expected. The HOA voted unanimously to fund Keanu's program, officially recognizing it as a community support and youth empowerment initiative. The garage was transformed into a small community center. Donations poured in. Local businesses offered equipment. Therapists volunteered time. The entire neighborhood united around something finally worth fighting for. As Keanu locked up the newly improved garage that night, he looked around at the peaceful street. The same street where he had once been accused of running a secret club. Now it was something far different. Something stronger. A safe haven, born out of misunderstanding, transformed by truth. The HOA didn't defeat Keanu. He changed them.